Good morning and good afternoon to all of our merry Marvelites. Welcome to Marvel Movie Talk for Wednesday, December the 8th, 2021. We're going to be talking about episode 4 of Hawkeye in a moment. So if you haven't watched and you don't want spoilers, it was nice seeing you for 30 seconds, but hit the bricks. But if you are going to stick around, as always, I'm Christian Bladt, joined by, I don't think I can call you that, Eric Conner.
What's going on, sir?
You do remind me of, you're a little bit more Pizza Rat. You remember the Pizza Rat video that was making the rounds? The rat that just dragged the entire oversized slice of pizza down the subway stairs.
Listen. My dreams were realized that day when I saw what that rat did. I think it was New York in one single image.
And someone whose dreams don't involve vermin of any kind, the one and only Michael Shirley. Hey, I don't know about you, but I like Michael Shirley. You can hate him all you want, but I don't. Michael, welcome back. So yeah, let's dive right into Hawkeye episode 4. And you know what? We'll go right to this comment before we even do that. Eric looks like a Bond villain. I'm inclined to agree. What would your Bond villain name be?
Let's see. I mean, you could go with Silver Jew.
That sounds like a Harvey Firestein song that he would try and work into some musical.
Harvey Firestein. Hello.
It's like Bruce Vilanch had that on a post-it as like a punchline that he couldn't work into the Star Wars Christmas special. You know what, Ivan Soto, nice to see you too. No, Kate has a real job. She's busy. Jeff has a real job. He's in Toronto, but we're here. So, and Nate was going to be with us, and then he remembered he had a doctor's appointment, which means that he didn't have a doctor's appointment, but then he scheduled one because he didn't want to lie, but he didn't want to see us either. But I believe Nate will be with us next week, and Jeff still in Toronto. So,
Canada.
Yeah, exactly.
Give us back our Jeff.
Yeah. So in any case, I always like to start big picture overall thoughts. Michael, overall thoughts on Hawkeye episode 4.
I'm really liking it. Like, I know it's rare, but I'm really liking this show. I wasn't with you guys last week, but I'm really excited. I'm not sure how much you talked about it or if you talked about it, but I'm really excited about these Daredevil tie-ins, and I've already seen one. I don't know if you guys have.
Well, if it's something that's coming up, we probably haven't seen it, but we did talk last week. This idea that was Wilson Fisk in the room. Yes, we did talk about that. Yeah, which was fantastic.
I'm loving Echo. I'm loving Clint and Kate's relationship is really fun. I feel like they're fleshing out her mom and her boyfriend in this episode a little more. They're a little more relatable, I guess, in that little Christmas dance they do. It's probably my next favorite one that we've gotten since WandaVision, which is just kind of hard to compare it to because it was just so wacky. And I think that's what I loved about it. It was kind of more like a comic book. You could do anything with that show. Like, it was so fantastical. But,
this show gets a leg up because no Catherine Hahn. I mean, no leg up for you.
Oh my God!
We've got Vera Farmiga, who everybody loves.
You know, I wasn't watching live from a studio audience. Facts of Life. Like, oh my God! When I saw that cast, I was like, ugh!
Well, the reason I didn't watch was when they decided to do an episode of Different Strokes, and it wasn't the Bicycle Man episode. Why would I ever watch it? You know, I mean, you have John Lithgow as Mr. Drummond, but really he should play Gordon Jump's character. I don't know who this conversation is for, except for Eric and myself. It's just us. Yeah, that's all right. But
I feel like you're probably the only one watching right now that watches or watched Different Strokes.
Well, I mean, but that's also a deep track. That was one of those very special episodes.
That's the very special different
Yeah.
strokes
Or Facts
episode.
of Life.
Facts of Life, I don't think had any episodes as special as the Bicycle Man. I mean,
with the dirty cartoons, remember that? Which it didn't even dawn on me that could be a thing, and then it dawned on me it could be a thing.
Hey, I love this comment in the chat from Ivan. I thought Michael hated everything. LOL. So very cool that he's enjoying the show.
Well, I love
so
Hawkeye.
your representation definitely precedes you, Michael.
I love Hawkeye, so that's already got like a leg up for me. Yeah. I love her wanting him to wear the outfit and his excuses. I love that he keeps, like, I always go back to this Benjamin Button thing. He's like, looks like he's getting younger and younger. Jeremy Renner. I don't know.
Oh, I thought you were talking about me. I was going to say that, but I forget if you're talking.
He used to
about
really
him.
creep me out, and now he's like,
okay, now you're definitely talking about me, but that's fine.
He's growing into himself.
Yeah. So, Eric, overall thoughts on episode 4 of Hawkeye?
Yeah, no, I'm agreeing with Michael here. I don't just tolerate Michael. I agree with his takes. This episode's interesting because last week's episode to me still was like this kind of high watermark for not just this show, but really the Marvel TV universe in terms of its action and its pacing and all that. And then this week's a quiet one. This is sort of like the in Walking Dead lore when they're always like, oh no, we got to move on to the next town, and they hang out for an episode because they just spent all their money on the big zombie scene from the previous episode. It had a bit of that feeling, but it worked. I think having Kate's mom and Mr. Duquesne like kind of hanging out, that scene actually goes on long. I watched it again, and it's surprisingly like they let it breathe, and all of a sudden Jack doesn't come off like a villain for a little bit, which of course means he probably is a villain. But I know his character in the comics can go either way. So I thought this was an interesting episode, sort of in the space of the larger season, in terms of there really wasn't much action until that last scene. A lot of this was character. A lot of this was like, we have that extended montage of Kate and Clint partying, and by the way,
is that what you call that?
Well, listen, if there's more than one person, then it's a party.
Look, we talked about what the ins and outs of Hanukkah really are last week, and that's the most festive holiday.
There's a menorah there.
That's the most festive holiday party you've ever seen. I think.
Oh yeah.
That Eric has ever been near.
See, Michael, in Judaism, that's a Hanukkah party. 2 people.
Like gefilte fish.
Gefilte fish. A lot of blended drinks.
Trying to turn the TV off with a quarter.
Right.
I mean, that's really that's kind of
apartment is that, by the way? Is that
that's like her aunt's apartment? Remember?
That's it. Thank you. I was like, is that like an Avengers crash pad? Which I'm excited about the idea of
West Coast Avengers headquarters.
Right.
Yeah. But, that's the West Side Avengers headquarters. So it's on the
West 54th Street Avengers.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I found the little holiday cheer that she tried to bring for Clint, I thought was fun. And him in the ugly sweater telling stories about it's not a fun story, about like not killing Natasha. I thought it was nice, sort of having that moment, and interesting that the only Christmas movie they showed on TV was the one in the public domain, but that's all right. I'm probably the only one who thinks like that when I'm watching something.
No, I thought the very same thing.
Yeah, it's like she was holding a lot of DVDs, but they didn't show the Santa Claus with Tim Allen,
Mm-hmm.
So
or even Santa Claus 3, which you assume would be more affordable.
Well, because of the inclusion.
I didn't even know there was a Santa Claus.
Yeah, Martin Short's in that one.
Jack Frost.
Let's talk about Jack Duquesne for a moment. Eric sent me an image that I know he wants to talk about. And it comes from a book called Avenger Spotlight, which just a few months earlier, Avengers Spotlight was called Solo Avengers. Issue 16, I believe you both own that. Solo Avengers
I don't
number
have
16.
that one. No.
No.
With the
Number
one with his
16.
letter.
Number 16
Oh.
is the one you have.
Okay.
You don't have this one.
Okay.
It's the same
Sorry.
book, but they changed the title. I was so critical of the way they were handling Solo Avengers that they had to change the name of it to Avengers Spotlight. So yeah, here we have Jack Duquesne. And, look, I mean, it's hardly a spoiler because this can go any number of ways, but man, not since Tom Selleck has a mustache spoken to me in that way. And there's been a lot of excitement in the chat about that. But
the mustache or the swordsman?
Both, but I'm speaking of the mustache in particular. So it'll be interesting to see sort of where we go with Jack. I think we're still getting some red herrings along the way in terms of just how bad a guy he is. I mean, it's largely based on comic book history that I feel like he's not really a bad guy, maybe a little misunderstood. But Clint sure managed to steal that Ronin sword from him without really any difficulty. But
that was quick.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not too hard when you got Hawkeye fingers.
Can you focus on that chat, by the way, from Naked High Def XYZ Online? I think I agree with a lot of their notes.
Yeah, no, I think that if people are seeing that in the chat, they know that we want to welcome a new sponsor to the show. And finally, somebody wants to give us some money. So, if you want some online strips without clothing, and by strips, we mean comic strips. So if you want to see Hawkeye and his mini swordsman, please go to nakedhd.xyz, which really sounds like one of those, in like the earliest days of fake websites on TV. We'll just go to nakedhd.xyz. But what I will highlight is the fact that Kemi Egan is here to say hello to us. So we appreciate that. I thought that there was a lot of sort of good-hearted family fun in the early portion of the episode. That the scene of Kate's mom and Jack across the table from Kate and Clint was sort of that was essentially the trailer for this episode. Was a very long version of that scene, like a full minute. So we knew that, at least I knew that was coming. And I thought that it was good, but I still don't trust her mom at all, because we sure didn't, who calls a number and then the answer is a beep. So her mom makes that call in this episode, and that's not the.
I know who that you call and their answer is a beep.
Is it Michael X. Shirley?
It's William Fisk.
William Fisk would be Wilson Fisk, by the way.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
Wilson Phillips. You can call it whatever you want. The Kingpin.
Yeah, the Kingpin needs to hold on for one more day. You're right. He is Wilson Phillips, as it were. Man, I look, just crushing with 1989, 1990 references, and that's what people come here for. But in any case, I thought that I think that Jack is going to be on the right side of these things, but Mama is not. And we've only got 2 more episodes, so of course, at the I think that we all had the feeling that this was coming, but as this episode goes along, we have a flashback to Natasha from the movies, and they talk about her so much that obviously this was going to be the episode where, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen episode 4, we're going to say now, the episode where Yelena would show up. And of course, when Clint is fighting some masked figure on the roof, I think, Michael, it was pretty obvious that it was Yelena's Belova's, right?
You know what? When I was watching that, I didn't initially think of her, because the head on that fighter was so small and little tiny little
Was
head.
tiny. I agree.
And then she rips off the
cute.
mask, and then her giant Cabbage Patch head. I'm like, there's no way she did any of those action scenes with that big old moon face and that little bitty mask. Like, that threw me off. I was like, at least you could have found someone with like an Olsen twin, like kind of head, like big old bobbly head.
So like Elizabeth Olsen?
Yeah. You know, what else is she doing now?
Or Tom Bosley, maybe. He had a very large head.
David the Gnome? No, he's passed on. Tom.
Yeah.
But
It was almost like it was
It's
a
true.
different person ripped off that mask, and I just couldn't kind of handle that. But I did like her little like backwards swan dive off of the building. That was pretty hot.
Yeah. Go ahead, Eric.
Well, you know what's interesting? I actually and I don't know if I mean I'll admit I was watching this on my iPad. I actually had a little hard time because I thought it's the same directors as episode 3, which
I did see that. Bert and Bertie.
Yeah, Bert and Bertie.
Yeah, what's that about?
It's our favorite Muppet roommate team. Bert and Bertie.
Right. It right down the hall from Ernie and Bert is Bert and Bertie. And they have a much darker existence.
I'm sorry, just to interject because somebody's in our age demographic. Dominicus Saxon asks Mr. C is a Black Widow assassin, and if somebody's gonna, out 70s and 80s reference me, it'll be Dominicus Saxon. But that is a guaranteed way to get yourself up on the screen. And I'm sorry, Eric, what were you going to say before I went over to that? Oh my God, the Fonz made an appearance.
Of course he did. I thought that fight scene was actually a little hard to follow some of it, but then the end of the fight scene was great because I mean that's when it slowed down, and you had that moment where it looked for a second like Kate might have plunged her to death, and
Merry Christmas, everybody.
The not so subtle callback, of course, to Avengers Endgame, but I still thought that was effective. And then I agree, Yelena's swan dive was pretty cool, but some of it was actually, it was so dark, like that it was like that Game of Thrones kind of cinematography where you're sort of like you have to kind of look close and like adjust your glasses and turn the brightness up on your set. Because
did they leave the lens cap on for the sequence? One of the cameras,
or Starbucks coffee cup in the background.
That's possible too. Yeah,
but I also thought it was interesting that in fact Yelena and Echo were fighting. Yeah, which was kind of cool. It became like a wrestling, like a triple threat match, where everyone was in it for themselves.
The only thing that was missing was a kiddie pool full of Jello. Is that what you're saying, Eric? Is that that's the only thing you thought was missing from that scene? And I think it was Ivan.
WWE in a while.
Yeah, I think it was Ivan in the chat. Someone in the chat pointed out, why did Kate not shoot Yelena? And
because Yelena was like.
Yeah, but she just said no. But it's like you don't necessarily want to you're not going to put an exploding arrow, in her temple, but you should have shot her in the arm and knocked her down like you did with Echo. So I'll ask you first, Eric. Why do you think that Kate didn't take the shot? Is it the advice of the shot that you don't take? Was it really the?
I mean, they weren't very subtle with that.
No,
that's part of it. But also, I mean, that's a moment of Kate really looking in the eyes of a woman who's not that far off her own age. I think, kind of a moment, maybe almost like a mirror being held up to herself. And so, it's also that the difference of those tracksuit guys running around like a bunch of putzes. It's putting an arrow in them is no such big deal. But then all of a sudden, you're looking at her. She's a few feet away. Defense is down, and in essence it's like that would have just been a cold-blooded kill, and that's not Kate. And so it made sense that she wouldn't. I agree though, why not just like wing her?
I can completely understand not killing her, but obviously this is somebody you need to talk to. You think she's involved, you don't know that that Julia Louis-Dreyfus has sent her on some vendetta to take out all of Elaine Bennis's past employers. Coming for you, Peterman.
A thumbs down.
Yeah, no, that's if the Fonz gives you a thumbs down, is that a Z? I don't even really know what that is. Yeah. Michael, did you have a sort of a similar thought, or were you angry that Kate didn't actually take a shot at Yelena?
I think it's just kind of about presence, and I think that Kate was intimidated by her. I think that is just kind of something a Black Widow has to be, is intimidating. I think just kind of how calmly she just kind of nodded at her like no. It kind of like she's like master, kind of like who's the sensei. I think she looked at her and knew this girl is like something else. She could take me out. I'm gonna stay out of this. And like when she ripped that mask off and you got this huge head, it's jarring.
Yeah, I think it was like a deer in the headlights moment.
Yeah.
Like, how did that head fit inside that mask?
Yeah, she was just trying to figure all that out.
Yeah. Also, I suspect that Kate had a sleepover and they all watched Little Women, and so it just threw her off because she's like, "What are you doing here?" So she just couldn't figure out what to do. But there's also the idea that from Yelena's point of view was like, look, I'm not here for you, but if you shoot me, I'm probably going to toss you off this building and nobody's going to save you.
Right.
Yelena also has a really soft spot for like a sister figure in her life.
That's
like it
true.
Seems like that's all she wants. And I was thinking the way they kind of connected and locked eyes, we might see down the line her take her under her wing.
Oh, see, I was getting
under her head.
Yeah, I was getting her MODOK sized head
Under her head. Yeah.
I was what I felt was an inevitable pillow fight, but maybe that's just me. That's what I wanted.
But Christian's Jello wrestling and pillow fights
in the same show.
25.
For the people that don't know, Christian, like deep down, is like literally a 13-year-old boy.
Yeah, I mean, should I bring up a letter from Solo Avengers number 16? I still talk like that. I still think like that. Everything is true. And look, this is what people really tuned in for, is this kind of discourse. Kame Egan, Mr. C was a former S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, but the real assassin was Jenny Piccolo. So
I thought it was Leather Tuscadero.
Well, yeah. Well, Pinky was sort of the Black Widow's sister to
right. She's the
and Dominica Saxon says we're all 13-year-olds.
No, I'm straight up a 16-year-old.
Yeah, that's true. Michael's more mature than us. Michael's 16.
I'm younger, but I'm stuck in like a 16-year-old state of mind.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah, and you guys are like telling boob jokes.
Well, I mean, boob. He sure did. So obviously, we moved the pieces on the game board a little bit. I do like I talked about this last week, the partnership between Clint and his wife, who I'm going to have to admit, who the fuck is Laura? Oh, that's his wife. But I saw he's texting Laura. I'm like, who is Laura? Is that a code name for someone? And I'm
Bobby.
like, nope, must be his wife's name.
That's his mistress that shows up in episode 6.
Laura Barton.
I'm glad you brought this up, because I know that you've always kind of had a bee in your bonnet about them not like adapting Mockingbird to be.
I mean, it should be
her.
Yeah.
But it seems like from the show and what we've been watching. Well, can you really imagine him with what's her name that plays her in S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Adrian Padalecki.
Yeah. Can you really
who's by the way the definitive Wonder Woman on screen? If you haven't seen Adrian Padalecki's pilot for NBC where she was Wonder Woman, it is remarkable. Oh my God, Michael,
your head will explode.
Michael, the second
like
you log off,
Pugh?
No, Adrian Padalecki. Yes, right.
We're gonna swell up.
Exactly. You'll have like the leader from the Hulk. Your head will. No, you need to find Adrian Padalecki as Wonder Woman. It was a pilot. It was like Stephen Bochco or somebody who had no business.
It was
David E. Kelly.
David E. Kelly. Yeah.
It's like it's up there with the Roger Corman Fantastic Four. I'm underlining the word need to watch this. But
That's your
Can you
homework, Michael.
Circa that for me, like when.
just yeah, I mean, you can find it.
No, I mean, like what time period did
It was
this?
like 10 years ago.
air?
About 10
Okay.
years ago, yeah.
Okay.
And,
Oh yeah, Diana Prince runs a company and she has 2 secret identities.
she
It's
does.
amazing.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And
Great.
Elizabeth
Wait.
Hurley is the bad guy in that, right?
She's
Yeah.
always the bad guy.
And her son constantly takes photos of her in her bikini. That's her
Hey.
superpower.
Oh,
It's hard to argue.
I'm gonna
with that.
find it and I'm gonna watch it.
Please.
I didn't think anything could like be more boring to me than the original. Well, not the original, but the Patty
Wonder Woman-
Jenkins
Wonder Woman
Oh,
1984.
you're
No.
right.
This isn't boring.
I haven't
This isn't,
seen that yet. I've only seen the first few
Michael,
minutes of that.
the word boring will not be on your mind when
Nah.
you see this. It is not boring.
Yeah. Okay.
It is not good, but it is not boring.
Well, originally they had written a trailer for a Mockingbird series when Shield, was doing well, and then last year they revamped another trailer for Mockingbird with her in the lead role. I don't know if it's going to actually see the light of day, but being that it was written last year, I don't know, it might.
Ghost 8386. This was something that I was thinking. I wonder if Hawkeye's wife is a former Shield agent. I think it's almost definite that if she didn't work for Shield, she worked for the CIA or the ease with which he just texts her like, "Hey, can you look this up?" And she's like, "Oh yeah," and then they're speaking their version of speaking Pig Latin in front of the kids is I guess that was Russian. I mean, I don't really know.
I think it was German.
Yeah, well,
but although I like the idea that she was just a German studies major at Swarthmore, and that's how we met her. No connection to Shield whatsoever.
Of course, she went to Swarthmore. In any case, so I think that I think Hawkeye's family is like, yeah, Dad, we know you're not coming home, which is Michael, you missed it last week. I thought it would be really dark if he did make it home in time for Christmas, but in a body bag. So
I'll say they're kind of setting this up like they're gonna kill him the way
I don't
a lot
think
of these
I don't think
going.
I do not think they will kill him in this show. I think that would happen on a much larger screen that you have to pay to see.
Really, not on his own solo show.
No.
I mean, all these characters are going to age out eventually. You can't have like a movie for every one of their deaths.
Yeah, well, that's probably true, but I think that Hawkeye would warrant that.
Well, no, I'm with you. I didn't think they would, but the way like he's like telling her all these stories, like almost. I mean, maybe he thinks he doesn't have a long time. I don't know, but it's just getting the heart-to-hearts are a little deeper than I was expecting for somebody he just met.
Right. Yeah, like 4 days ago. So Ivan says, can we talk about Kate realizing Clint is Ronan? I mean, we talked about this last week. It was fairly apparent that she knew, and she saw like her moment of like, oh, so that was when you met Ronan? That's like, it's like when you're like, oh yeah, that was when you were on that work trip and that night that you had your cell phone didn't work. I'm sure that nothing happened that night, right? Conveniently, you were at that big party in Cleveland. So she clearly knew is the point, and she was just trying to lead him there.
This is like something Christian's been like keeping deep down.
His version of Budapest is Cleveland.
Look, people want to try to forget about Budapest. I always want to forget about Cleveland.
What happens in Cleveland stays in Cleveland.
That's why they're the Guardians now. So this idea that he was Ronan, I think that he clearly figured it out. I wonder if anybody else is going to think about it. But Eric, I know you need to leave soon. So I want to let you. Then the real show is going to start if Eric has to leave in a few minutes. But Eric, I want to let you. He's gone now. Yeah, it was just like with Doug Henning. It's all an illusion. What did you think, sort of, about that moment where he has to admit to this young girl, like, I'm a terrible killer. No, I'm not a hero.
Yeah. What read that idea of you know, she was like, your job is to protect, and it's like, no, it's to murder. Was that the term he used?
Be a weapon.
To be a weapon. And you really, I mean, that's one thing that we talked about last week, is the idea of like, this whole show is like a big reckoning for Hawkeye.
Yeah.
It's interesting because, right, he didn't, with the exception of a couple of pretty good scenes, he didn't really have that many moments all his own in the Marvel universe. And yet here we really see a character, a very three-dimensional character, filled with regret, filled with pain too. I loved, by the way, him putting all the frozen drinks on his body and just looking. I mean, Mike, I know you say you think he's getting younger every time you see him, but his body sure isn't getting younger because he just looks spent, And I
think it's just Botox.
Maybe. It's only the Botox here. He doesn't have it everywhere else. So
well,
I wouldn't know.
It's why we always, most weeks we compare him to Roger Murtaugh, aka Danny Glover in Lethal Weapon. He's 2 weeks away from retirement, but Hawkeye is definitely getting too old for this shit.
Oh yeah,
and we definitely see that. And honestly, I thought that sort of the greatest moment in the show from a character standpoint is that he takes out his hearing aid. Yeah. Finally, the world is quiet, and all he can think about is Natasha dying, being a violent murderer, and that's who he is when he's able to shut everything out. So I think that we won't see much of Hawkeye hereafter. I don't expect him to die in this series, but from a narrative standpoint, Michael, I think it would be good storytelling. It would be a satisfying way, if like
nice little bow,
like Natasha sacrificing herself for the greater good. I'm sure that when Clint goes out, it'll be in some way like that to save everyone. Before Michael and I continue the fun part of the conversation, though, Eric, I know we have to cut you loose like a grappling arrow between two New York City buildings so that you can scamper off to teach the leather and pinky Tuscaderos of the future. So if people want to keep in touch with you, their own Mr. C, how do they do that?
I'm so impressed with you, man. You are far more Fonz than Chachi in this world. I'm
Richie's older brother who disappeared after episode 6.
Never to be spoken of again.
Never to be spoken about. That's me. Yeah.
Yeah. Chuck, The Dangerous Life of Chuck is a spinoff I'm pitching currently. And you can learn more about that at Shirley and Eric Conner, hanging around on Twitter and Instagram. I am not on TikTok because despite my youthful appearance, I am not a young man. But I'm very happy to see Christian and Michael, and to see everyone in the comment section. And I'm really excited about these last 2 episodes, too. I think they've done a really nice job. I feel like this pulled off a lot of what Captain America, Winter Soldier couldn't. Like something a little more grounded, a little bit more along the lines of like the Netflix Marvel shows.
It'll probably
maintaining the fun.
It'll probably pull off what Falcon and Winter Soldier couldn't and get some Emmy nominations. So
I agree with that.
Probably happen there as well. Well, Eric, thank you as always. We will see you next week. And
Michael, will you be there? I mean, I was emotionally, hollow all week without you. Am I going to see you next week?
I think I'll be around for the next 2 episodes.
Oh, good.
Okay. Well, I'll have to talk to you about the finale, Michael. So we'll see if you'll be around for it. So,
all right. Yeah, be good.
All right. Thank you, Eric. All right. Now the party can begin. So in any case, before we talk about some of the other Marvel news from the past few days, I sort of want to kind of tie up what we've gotten so far from Hawkeye. I've agreed with you in that I find that this is a fun exploration of a character who, like you, I always liked the character of Hawkeye from the comics. And I really felt like they did a huge disservice to him. He was barely featured in the movies and he was under mind control. And, so getting the opportunity to spend time with him, I think has been great. Having to deal with the fact that they gave him this family and this backstory that is not comic book accurate. I've had to get over it. And it definitely has made for a richer character because, when your wife is also an Avenger, or at least an Avenger West Coast, you don't have to worry about them in the same way. The idea that Echo has the names of his family. I'm going to be pretty sure, though, that Laura can defend herself. And, I also feel like that house that they've got in the middle of Montana or wherever they are, you got to think there's some kind of like Stark
reason
technology.
they're there.
Yeah, there's like some kind of Stark technology that puts the whole thing in a bubble and shoots it out into space if it has to,
I'm thinking more underground bunker,
That's
Hawkeye
fair.
style,
Yep,
but
that's true. That is more
I
his
don't
style.
know.
Yeah. So I think that it's been a fun ride. He'll get home in time for Christmas, and I think that Kate is gonna find herself probably out on her own, and her and Yelena are gonna be setting up to be young Avengers before we know it. And I think everything. I think we'll get an open-ended conclusion to this show, but I think it'll be a satisfying. It's not entirely tying the bow on Hawkeye, but I feel like it is sort of a resolution for him, and that I don't know. That's where I feel like it's heading, but it'll be disappointing if they kill him, just because I'd like to see him again. He can help out in Avengers 5 or 6. Just have the one scene where he's able to help everyone. Something like that. But I don't know. So I'm very intrigued to see where this show goes over the next 2 weeks, and I hope everyone is too. So. Is there any other final thoughts, things about this episode that you haven't gotten to before we talk about some of the other news items that are out there?
I've just been thinking a lot about the new Avengers team and kind of what it's going to look like. I think it'd be fun maybe to like talk about that. So to me, it seems like we're going to have Scarlet Witch, Shang-Chi, Black Widow or White Widow. I don't know what she's going to do.
But Yelena, yeah.
Yeah. Hawkeye.
Well, we've got Kamala Khan, Ms. Marvel coming our way. We've got Riri Williams, Ironheart.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure how. Part of me thinks that we're going to have a new Avengers team, and then they're going to spin off into like Avengers and Young Avengers, and we're going to have both of them.
But why can't they be the West Coast Avengers? Why won't you let me have that dream, Michael?
They're not really pushing West Coast Avengers at Marvel, so I think that's really the only reason.
I'm literally the only person carrying the torch for West Coast Avengers. Yeah,
but I think it's really interesting to think of what the teams are going to look like, and they're going to be, from what it seems, female dominated now, whereas formerly, there was only one, and then I guess Miss Marvel is an Avenger. Yeah, she's an Avenger.
Yeah, I mean, she certainly would be. Yeah.
Natasha was outnumbered for a long time, and now it looks like the boys are going to be outnumbered.
Yeah, well, it'll be like
She-Hulk.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
it'll be like some of the best eras of X-Men, where it's a bunch of kick-ass ladies and Logan.
Yeah.
And then
Scott!
And then whiny Havoc off in the corner, but then fortunately, even Havoc got whisked away. So it'll be interesting to see, and I'm sure that in the new year it'll be something to kind of talk about, sort of trying to put these teams together and seeing where all of that goes. So in terms of the other big news, was that Kevin Feige mentioned that when we see Daredevil again, but we don't know when that's going to be, wink, wink, Charlie Cox will be playing Daredevil. And I think that people have felt that way for a while. And I think that there's a lot of the Netflix universe that maybe they're not going to continue with. But that casting in particular, I honestly think that 3 of the 4 Defenders, I can't imagine casting someone else as. As much of an Iron Fist apologist I am, I can imagine casting someone else as Danny Rand. That's not that hard.
I don't think
Starting,
we're gonna get another Iron Fist.
I mean, someday that character will show up in something. You know, they're not gonna.
one day.
Yeah, but I think we would get Daredevil first. But you know, I think we already had a perfect Luke Cage and a perfect Jessica Jones. So, but
I
let's
can't
just
see Jessica coming back personally.
yeah, but it just depends, you know. And here's the thing: is that Ivan's asking a question. A lot of people are asking: is Charlie Cox playing our Daredevil or a rebooted version? And honestly, the answer is probably yes. It'll probably be very similar in tone, but I don't think that they want to be held to decisions that were made creatively. Look, I just want the same Foggy. You know, I mean, that's really what I want. Is
I don't
Foggy
agree.
Nelson.
We're gonna get the exact same Daredevil. We're gonna get the same Kingpin.
Well, I think you're right on that. Yeah.
I'm really hoping we're gonna get Alice Eve back. Like she was so good.
Oh, she was
Mary.
Typhoid Mary. Yeah, that's
I
true.
really wanted to see that character develop more.
I did too. Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. So it's exciting to have it confirmed. But what that does to me is that makes me think like, oh, if he's saying that now, he's got to be in Spider-Man Far From Home. Because it's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to tell you like a week out.
I don't agree with that. I think it's because of Wilson Fisk.
Yeah.
Like that was Vincent D'Onofrio's voice. Like I would know his voice. There's certain actors. It's like you would know their laugh. They're like I can hear every like weird bank commercial Kiefer Sutherland does. Like I can hear Patricia Clarkson. Like they're just certain people you can hear their voice, and you can't have Wilson Fisk without without Matt Murdock.
Yeah.
Like when you got that same actor, you can't have him and not have Charlie Cox.
Yeah, look, it's hard to ignore, you know. I think that look, the reason that everybody expects some degree of reboot for the X-Men characters is the status of the X-Men films when the last one came out. And honestly, even before Dark Phoenix, I think people were typically feeling like, all right, they don't seem to have this figured out. All of these actors are going to be replaceable. They'd already replaced them once, you know, and yes, they combined them in Days of Future Past. But for Daredevil, I think the quality of the show is hard to ignore. It's really the question is why would you recast him? I'm using the comparison of Iron Fist is that the reasons why you would recast him are kind of on the screen, you know, and the overall public reaction was that people weren't happy with that show. So I think that it was a no-brainer that like, yes, we want to do something with Daredevil down the road, but we're gonna do it soon enough where, you know, because look, if you reboot Daredevil in 10 years, I don't think Charlie Cox can play him, you know. But if you do it, you know, if you start filming something next year or the year after, it's fine.
You know, they might be setting up for an Elektra Daredevil.
Yeah, no, I mean we could certainly get that, but then she'll have to be played by Jennifer Garner. I'm just kidding. But I know we have the Elektra Daredevil in the comics right now, but I think that we would get there later. I think that they need to give us that.
They push a lot of current content, like Echo. No one gave a fart about her until
I had to
recently.
look up what Echo was when they announced it as a show. I didn't know who that was.
Well, I only knew
Let me just bring in another comment from Ivan. Why are you okay with the retcon of Daredevil with Fisk? Because it's creative decisions that are out of my control. If they decide to do that, it's fine. They'll figure out a way to do it, but it may, you know, with multiverses and all of that, sure, they can keep it going. But I feel like they want, you know, they get control over these characters and they want to tell their stories in their way. They want to tell X-Men stories in their way. They want to tell all these Defender stories in their way.
We don't need all the Far From Home stuff to bring it in. It's like Wilson Fisk is living in Hawkeye's New York.
Yes,
so is Matt Murdock. Like if it's the same voice, I think Netflix wants to play nice with Disney and Marvel because they've got all of their movies on their platform. If they ever want to have a Marvel movie on Netflix, they need to have a good relationship with them because they don't need them anymore.
Well, yeah, but I mean, Netflix doesn't have to let them do anything, you know.
No, but
know
it
what
would
you're
be in their
saying.
best interest not to be like, you can't use Charlie Cox. We've got copyrights.
Yeah.
You can't use Vincent D'Onofrio. You know, I don't think they're gonna dick around like that because
No, yeah,
they don't
I see
need
what you're
them
saying.
anymore, and they need Marvel movies. I don't think you can be a sustainable platform without having a Marvel movie somewhere at all times on it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I
So,
agree, and I think that we'll see as much of this as Feige wants to do. It's really more of a question as to when we'll get it, and how soon. And next week at this time, we will be a day away from the first public screenings of Spider-Man: No Way Home, and we talked last week about everybody buying their tickets, and of course,
except
I'm
me.
going on Monday, so I'll have seen it when we do our next show. And the thing you need to know about Sony: no plus ones, so I can't bring my wife. I can't bring Eric.
No popcorn.
No,
Just room temperature Dasani.
that's fine. I don't. Yeah, I'm gonna want to sit there and watch. So I'm very excited. You know, they have had a press screening of it already, but they only showed the first 40 minutes. They did not show the whole movie.
Well, that's because of what Matt Donnelly did with Eternals.
Yes.
At Variety.
Yes.
Who I used to work with, and I still think that's awesome he outed that. And you guys got so mad at me.
Yeah, but there's a bigger spoiler in Eternals that I'm glad wasn't ruined for me.
Okay.
So, yeah. So that was way more exciting than that. Plus, I would not have recognized that actor in that moment if I didn't know if you hadn't spoiled it for me. So anyway, yeah, I think
actor.
that
You mean musician?
I mean, I saw a movie with him in it. So
he was in a movie?
Yeah, he was in Dunkirk.
Oh. I know Cara Delevingne was in it. They'll just take anybody with a pretty face, I guess.
I mean, so do I. So
wait, wasn't that Cara Delevingne?
I don't know.
I don't know. Whatever.
In any case, so we're getting very close to our No Way Home. We'll be spending a lot of time talking about that in the weeks ahead. Further down the road, though, was the official announcement that I think we were all expecting. Although in some of our conversation about Shang-Chi, there were questions about whether or not we would actually get a direct sequel. I always felt like we were going to get a direct sequel. I think Shang-Chi will next appear in Avengers-related movies because of the way that film ends, hanging out with Wong and all of that. So I think we'll see him very soon. But I was just like, they left so much open that I expected a sequel. Was, as soon as I was done watching the first one, I'm like, they're going to make another one. So of course they are. And there may even be a series tie-in for Disney Plus along the way. Hopefully they give Ben Kingsley his own show. And that's what we really want.
We don't need that.
No, I know we don't. Of course we don't. But so excited about that news. I know everybody's excited about just the prospects of Charlie Cox and what that means, because I think that some of the reactions to the Netflix shows are a little split, but I think that in general, people are excited about that. And then that just brings us that much closer to like one day getting the Punisher and all of that. There's so much more to talk about in terms of Hawkeye over the next couple weeks. We will be back next week at the same time, Wednesday, 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern. And then we will have an announcement next week about how we're going to cover the season finale, mostly because of my schedule. But until then, Michael, how can people keep in touch with you?
You can find me on Instagram at I Hate Michael Shirley and on Twitter at Michael X Shirley.
And you can always find me on Twitter and Instagram at ChristianDMZ. Please subscribe to the Blackcast YouTube channel, BLADTCAST. You'll get this show, our Star Trek Discovery after show, our political show, Biden Time, and of course, the titular Blackcast, BLADTCAST. Thank you so much. And you know what? I was about to close out, but Cam Egan did remind me we got a trailer for Into the Spider-Verse Part 1. And
Part 1? I thought that was the first one.
The sequel is being broken up into 2 parts.
Oh,
look, I'm excited for.
I hate that kind of stuff.
I'm excited for all Spider-Man. Then don't see Dune. I'm excited for all the Spider stuff that we're getting. So yes, the Into the Spider-Verse I thought was fantastic. So getting more of it, breaking it up into 2 movies, everything that we see in there. I love seeing Miles and Spider-Gwen. So yeah, I thought it was great. I'm excited for more, but I'm not looking past No Way Home just yet. You know, my focus is still there.
Do we know when the Far From Home is coming to Disney Plus so I can see it?
No, it's not going to be for a while. But you still haven't seen. Well, Far From Home is the one that's already there. No Way Home is the next one. I think I called it the wrong thing. Yeah, so you still have to.
Far From Home.
Yeah, so when everybody's excited to go see No Way Home, you sit down and watch Far From Home, and then you'll feel like you're part of the experience.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, but it'll probably be a little while before you're able to see it streaming. So. But it's all right. You'll get buried under all the spoilers on this show, and then you won't need to see it. That's really
cool. I don't mind a spoiler
or 2. So in any case, thanks to Cam Egan for reminding me about the Spider-Verse trailer. I knew there was something else, and I'm sure that they'll attach something to No Way Home with maybe a longer trailer for that, a post-credit trailer, as it were. In any case, that is our time for this week. We will see you next week. And as the great Stan Lee would say, Excelsior!